Hello and welcome to Conquering FUD Through Mental Fitness. I am your host, Pennie Wilson, and today's episode is Season 1, Episode 1, Why We Stay Stuck in the Messy Middle and How to Keep Moving Forward. This podcast is for parents, teachers, and leaders who are working to create meaningful cultural shifts and find themselves in the messy middle where things don't always work out as planned. If you ever felt like you know what to do, but in the moment you don't follow through the way that you want to, you are in the right place. Today we're talking about why we get stuck in the messy middle and what actually helps us to move forward. I decided to create this podcast because I've been a guest for over 40 shows with estimated listeners of 1,755, reaching 296,107 social impressions. As a guest, I found my joy in creating authentic connection with real conversations that make a difference. For me, figuring out how to move forward through the messy middle is not theory and didn't start as a concept. It came from my lived experience. Over the span of my lifetime, I have spent 25 years on and off feeling controlled in narcissistic relationship dynamics. And there came a point where I knew something had to change. I knew that I wanted something different, but in the moments that mattered most, I couldn't make myself show up the way that I wanted to. I felt stuck. I gave away my power. I was confused and frustrated. And that was the gap between what I actually knew and what I was doing. And that gap is what this work is about. So what is FUD? Over time, I started to recognize a pattern of my emotions, what we now call FUD: fear, uncertainty, doubt, dread, and discouragement. FUD sounds like, but what if it doesn't work? Uncertainty sounds like, but I don't know what to do next. Doubt feels like, am I even capable? And dread looks like avoidance and procrastination. And discouragement makes us question our value and self-doubt. And eventually we go to, why even try? The truth is, these are not just your thoughts. These are patterns that show up when pressure rises. And it causes us to look at the clouds of what's not working and makes it feels like progress is so slow. So why do we get stuck? What I found is that most people aren't stuck because they don't know what to do. They're stuck because when that pressure comes up in real time, their focus shifts toward the problem. They ask questions like, what's wrong with me? Or why isn't this working? When we shift our focus to the sun of what we desire, we change the question we ask, what is my desired outcome? What do I want to create? And from there, we can find the answers of what is working. And how am I making progress toward that desired outcome? When emotions of the storms in our lives rise up, that frustration can take over, and reaction becomes the default, instead of the intention of what we want to create. The problem isn't that you don't know what to do. The problem is that when that emotion pressure rises within you, it's that your system hasn't yet been trained to stay aligned with what you want to focus on. Mental fitness is the ability to focus on what you desire and let go of what you fear. What actually helps? For me, this came back to something simple: recognizing 3 key focuses. Number 1, what do I really want? Digging down deep and finding out why it matters to me, to the way that I want to show up as a person, and to the contribution I want to make in life to make a difference. Second key focus is looking at the clouds and acknowledging what feels hard right now and why does it hurt. Finding out the lesson in that so that you can shift toward what you desire. And the third key focus is, what is my one next step? What power do I have to choose? What is within my control? Not allowing yourself to get overwhelmed by trying to fix everything all at once, but allowing yourselves to stay in the messy middle where things aren't perfect, and just returning again and again to what you have power to choose, one step at a time. So this podcast is not about perfection. It's not about giving you more information. It's about helping you stay connected to what you want to create when it's hard, when it's messy, and when it feels uncertain. Here on the Conquering FUD podcast, you will hear real conversations with parents, teachers, and leaders who are living their purpose and creating meaningful cultural shifts, and what it actually looks like to keep going. If you are in the messy middle right now, you're not doing it wrong. You're just in that part where you need to train calm under pressure. These stories will inspire you to find resilience from people who are leading the way, so that you know that you can keep going in the storms of your life and never, ever, ever give up. Remember that light is stronger than darkness, and when you focus on what you desire, it will give you more energy and power to move forward toward your desired outcome. Keep going one step at a time. Until next time, this is Pennie Wilson signing off.